The Chase Business Premier Inc. credit card. I purchased or I applied for this card it's been about a year and 8 months ago. The cost was $195 per year. Originally, when I applied for this card, I thought I had a pretty good idea of what the details were in relationship to the card, but I did not find out until after I actually had the car in my possession where the real circumstances were. For one, this is a card that basically gives you free cell phone protection. It gives you 5% on travel. The only thing with the travel is you don't get the same interaction for exchanges with the Chase portal. In other words, you can't transfer these points that you earn on this card over to, say, your reserve or your preferred personal cards. But you can use the card in the travel portal. So you do lose a little bit of value on your points because you're not able to make those transfers to the other cards. This card, like I said, it has a $195 a year annual fee. Yes, they say free cell phone protection, but it's not really free. I mean, for every single cent, you are paying that $195 for the services that you receive. It actually has some pretty good benefits on the non-usable side. For instance, trip cancellation, insurance for travel, purchase protection. I mean, those are fairly common in most cards. It's only when you get to this brand of card where they start to nickel and dime for it. In other words, I don't know, my couple of my first credit cards when I first came out of college, they were with credit unions, and they all had all of these features. No foreign transaction fees, trip protection, purchase protection, car rental insurance. I mean, all of that came with the card at no fee. And I still carry to this day the one that provided a 5% on all gas. No limit, no 1,600 per quarter or 1,600 per month, or I think one card I remember had a $3,000 per year limit on how much gas you could use. But my card that I had from college still allows for 5%. I could use $1 million worth of gas. It's still 5%. Of course, the card is no longer available, but luckily enough, they did use that legal grandfathering circumstance to allow me to continue to keep the card. So I'm probably one of maybe 10 people on the planet that still use it. But back to the business premiere. I was going to cancel this card, and I did an actual video on my site here in relationship to cancel this card out after the first year, because it comes with a great bonus. It was 100,000 points bonus when you first get it. And basically, because I'm a person that's in the markets on a 100% basis, basically, after I got that 100K, I pulled that 100K bonus out of there that basically was $1,000 out and put it in the market. Now, I think it's been about 18 months. I've probably got maybe a 30-40% return on that 1,000 already. So it just didn't seem any point to keep the money sitting on the card when this is a purely cash card. I mean, you They've got an option for you to make payments on the card on a monthly basis, but they technically ask for just it's sort of set up as a charge card. So basically, when you get your bill, they're expecting you to pay it. So if you've got $15,000 on it, they want you to pay it. They do have some grace period on a plan there that will allow you to associate making payments on a specific portion, but it's a very small portion. I use this card, I don't know, probably I'm doing 25,000 on it a month. um I One of the problems that I find is that with this particular brand of card, it's like their benefits are sort of similar on all of the cards. So unfortunately, you may have the same benefits on this card that you have on your personal card, and vice versa. And it's all the way through their line. They've got probably 100 different credit cards with this company, but they all seem to have just redundant features. So the only real difference between this card and your regular ink non-fee cards, they reduce, I think, one of them down to 1.5 as opposed to 2% on this one. And then one of the other ones sort of gives you, I think, 3 or 5% in some fields that nobody uses. Postage, and I think it's postage, and I think the other field has something to do with using, what do you call it? The supply stores, these depots that supply business products or whatever. But my thing is, for most people, they tend to use their cards for more than one category if they're running a business. So that just sounds kind of ridiculous on my end. So that is the reason why I picked this particular card up. And this card does give you 2.5% on purchases over 5,000. So that's where I've really made most of my returns. So I cashed out the 100,000 points about a year and a half ago, and I'm getting ready to cash out another 100,000 because I've probably spent probably 200,000 on this card already. The only thing I got to tell you, and the reason why I'm making this video, they do not let you downgrade this card. So technically, when I found that out, that's why I didn't shut it down. And that probably was their intent, that once you found out that you couldn't downgrade, that you would keep the card. Well, I paid another $200 for it for this current year that I'm in. But definitely at the end of this period, I'll be getting rid of this card because I've already picked up another business credit card from another company that has no cost and is providing 5% in categories that I use almost every day. So this was a good experience. I would not recommend it. Not unless you're filthy rich. You do a lot of business activities, but it's a card that doesn't really help you with travel unless you use it and only want that 5% through the portal. That portal, I'm not going to make a negative comment about it, but I would think twice. Just recently, I paid for a trip to Dubai. The total trip was about 15,000 in the portal. I found out if I had to just call that hotel directly, I was over there for roughly about 3 days. I found out if I had called that hotel directly, even with the long distance costs, I probably would have saved 50%. That's all I'm going to say about it. Be careful if you decide to go with this card. If you're a big spender, enjoy. Thank you for listening to my channel. Have a good day.